Well, Jayna, it's an exciting day. The PWHL has officially announced that expansion is here, and I know there's a ton of questions around the team and, of course, being housed at the Pacific Coliseum. So let's get started. You know, when you look at Vancouver as the 7th team, what was the process in selecting them as the team? And did the takeover tour really play a vital role with over 19,000 people coming out in droves to watch the two teams play?
Well, we had an RFP process, or request for proposal, and I think the first positive is that we had a ton of interest in markets that wanted to have a PWHL team. Vancouver, certainly the takeover tour here, was one of our top stops, over 19,000 people, as you mentioned. A lot of really great data around this market and what this market could be for us. There's a lot of things we consider, though. We look at market size and media reach. We look at infrastructure and facilities. We're going to play out of the PNE, the Pacific Coliseum, and being a primary tenant there is something that's really attractive to us. We look at the community involvement, the grassroots, the development that's happening in this province, and so when you put all those things together, along with the successful takeover tour, that led us to Vancouver being, a natural fit for the first expansion team.
Well, it's incredibly exciting, and when you think about it being a new team, there's going to be opportunity for new players, more players to come into this league. So let's just look ahead to the draft in June 24th, 2025. And as we do look ahead to that, how do you see expansion impacting the draft? And also, traditionally, there's a player protection list. So can you just provide a little bit of a landscape or maybe insight into what that may look like?
Yeah, I think to start, it's really exciting that we're going to be opening up a whole bunch more player opportunities. As you know, the player pool and the depth of talent is so great right now, and there are really great players from around the world that don't have a spot in this league. So we're excited to be able to have more opportunities for women to play at the professional level. We're working through what an expansion draft could look like, so more details to come on that. That'll be finalized shortly. And then, as you mentioned, the entry draft in June 24th in Ottawa this year. And again, we have a ton of interest coming through our draft declaration process, and we know that the talent is there, certainly. So it'll be exciting for the people in Vancouver to learn very soon what some of the players who are going to represent their city are going to look like.
Yeah, and when you look at that and you look at the expansion, one of the things to be considered here is whether or not the game number will change. And so I'm hearing that we will have an earlier start. Maybe you can sort of expand on that. The number of games that these teams may now play, that there's 7 teams, and of course, with the expansion, whether or not things will change in terms of the playoff format.
Yeah, I think, per the CBA, we're still at 30 to 32 games per year, so that won't change. We're going to be working closely with our scheduling folks to determine what the best format is and what that'll look like. It'll also depend how many teams, start the season for the PWHL in Season 3. So more to come on all of that, but as of right now, we'll leave it to the folks in the scheduling to determine what that will look like.
I know we're talking about logistics in a Western Canada team, so we've now hit 7 teams. There's been a lot of conversations around a second team. So any insight in terms of when we could look ahead to potentially an 8 team on the West Coast?
Well, we're hopeful that we may have another team in advance of next season, but today is really about Vancouver and introducing Vancouver as our 7th team and our first expansion team. So really excited here today to enter this market into the PWHL, and we'll see where everything else lands after that.
Heffy, we see that you're wearing the Pacific blue and some cream there, and you've got all of, the Vancouver fans, you've got the PWHL fans that are so invested in team names, team logos, everything like that. When do you expect there'll be sort of a team name or a team logo? When can that be on the horizon for the fan base who will come out in droves?
Well, as of today, it's PWHL Vancouver, and as you mentioned, we've unveiled some of the colors here today. And our team's working diligently on name and team identity and the brand and what that'll look like. And so no timeline to share today, but when we have that ready, we'll be excited and proud to introduce it to the Vancouver market.
Awesome, Jayna. Exciting news, exciting to have Vancouver as part of the PWHL, and can't wait till next season.